I think one of the biggest strengths that Tokyo Revengers has going for it is how it constantly ups the ante with its time travel mechanic. It was cool enough to have him go back in time in order to try to save the girl he used to love, and that's a good enough mechanic. But then you introduce the handshake and how the people that he's changed the future of actually allow him to go forward and backwards in time. It goes a set amount of years from the exact day that he shakes the hand forward and backwards. That's good enough. But then you introduce even more concepts to it, like the fact that when he does travel back, his body in the future, or I guess you could call it the present, is basically dead. It's almost like a comatose body, so he has to be hooked up to IVs and essentially life support. So it's almost as if like maybe he's going to actually have to come back and forth more than we were giving credit to, because 10 days, I mean, is one thing. What if he's gone for an entire year? And it feels like naturally you'd want to bounce around because it would give you more and more leads. I mean, we thought one thing, we're looking at Nato, he's saying I would have killed Mikey right then and there, but after seeing everything with his friend in this week, the suicide to just how depressed he was, has all the money, has all the women, but he's scared for his life, and he values someone like Takemichi more than he values himself, right? This show has thrown us so many twists and turns, and I was definitely surprised by who pushed him, because I think naturally when you look at time travel stories, the first person that you save is most likely the one who caused you to end up in that situation. So most of us probably assumed it was the brother, because if Takemichi doesn't get hit by a train supposedly, then how would he ever save him, right? That's kind of like the concept of time travel. Well, no, he was never hit by the train to begin with. The reason is that he was actually saved in the nick of time because Takemichi actually told the brother in the past of what happened, so then in the present, he was able to save him, but only someone who knew of the past would be able to do that, right? So the fact that it was actually because of an order that he never wanted to do, it just makes everything line up in such a neat fashion that, unlike a lot of time travel stories, they're very convoluted and they don't follow the technical rules that have been laid out within media and things like that. This show is absolutely remarkable, and one of the biggest things I've seen towards Takemichi isn't that it's a bad thing, but a lot of people call him a crybaby because he does cry a lot, right? And even in this episode, before the whole suicide, he gets told this is why you're our crybaby hero, basically. And yes, he does cry a lot, but I think it's a pretty natural reaction. I think crybaby is more of when you have a character who just cries because he can't deal with anything. I think if you're put into his situation where you have to keep bouncing around, readjusting as you're a teenager back to an adult, and each timeline has its very own different struggles. He gets the living shit beat out of him, from baseball bats to the head, to literally being pushed in front of a train, and everything that he's come to expect, he has to reevaluate. It's an emotional burden that I don't think anyone, unless they were literally a cold-hearted, emotionless bastard, would be able to handle. So when he does break down and cry, like the fact that realizing your best friend, the person you trust above all else, is the reason that you almost got killed, that's going to make most people cry and break down. It's a natural reaction and it's a natural emotion. And while I don't think calling him a crybaby essentially is an insult, given that the characters that actually respect him and he respects are saying it as well, I do think it does it a disservice because most people, when they hear crybaby, they associate it with those characters that do nothing. This is without a doubt one of the bravest and strong-willed characters I've seen. A character who doesn't want to die, who doesn't want to emotionally struggle, and continues to put himself in these horrible situations so that he can save everyone. That's without a doubt a strong character, not really a crybaby character to me, though it does provide for some funny lines from certain characters for sure. But it's very interesting too, just seeing how he's already made significant changes, like the fact that the friend was actually going to stab him, right? That actually happened in the history, but it didn't because of obviously how he stood his ground in that match, and it changed the fundamentals of everything. There's so many things that he's going to have to do, and the worst part is he has this really nice safety blanket. If something is looking bad, as long as he can get to a handshake in time, he can go back, or I guess forward in that case, and say, okay, what do we need to do? Do I need more information? But if he misses it, right? Like, if a character important ends up dead or doing the wrong thing, it seemingly is over. It's not like one of those stories, it's a checkpoint system in a lot of ways, but rather than it being a checkpoint, it follows the days in a calendar. While it's really handy, in other ways, it's not going to be as handy as other time travel stories that can just set in a date and just keep trying and keep trying. It's really a one-time offer, and it's going to be a lot of struggling for sure. There's a lot of great bonding moments, the simple moments before everything hits the fan, seeing our girl just literally put thugs in their place to let the old woman sit on the train, to the mom saying, oh, is this your boyfriend? He's cute. It's just a lot of flirting and just fun banter. And then you have, I would say, the funniest scene to date where, you get in that cliche classic hand-holding scene. The boy deserves it. Nope, it's the brother. Made me lose it. I was like, I was not expecting that, and it was really humorous. And then you end the episode with a suicide. Without a doubt, this show is goofy. This show is humorous, and the natural art style that they use for the series allows for the most exaggerated reactions, like the transition from him freaking out in the past to waking up in the present, and it still has that elongated kind of look and the absurd reactions. But the fact that it can go so drama, that's what I love about, I especially love Takemichi's facial reactions, because he naturally has this goofy persona, both in the past and the present. But when he does break down and cry, it's as real of grief as any. Learning that your best friend is the reason you almost died, that the girl you used to date is dead, the pain you feel when you get a baseball bat to the head or kicks to the ribs, like, there is so many physical and emotional things this character is struggling through. And after 4 weeks seeing how he lives in the present, it's disgusting, there's cockroaches, it's just a gross lifestyle. Even that would be better than what he's dealing with in the past, but he still keeps putting himself further and further trying to save everyone. And it feels like one of those stories that the only character who won't get a happy ending might be Takemichi, just given the nature of this story, right? It's great, the relationships continue to impress me, and I love seeing the difference of how they were in the past to how they are in the present, and even if it didn't quite work out in the same way, it's nice that the friendship did live on, even if it did result in a death. There wasn't this, surprise assassination. Sure, there was the attempt at it in the beginning of the series, but the fact that he was able to go to that place, they were able to bond, and even for a brief moment still have that same level of friendship. It was nice to see that it wasn't a lie, that no matter what happens, some things will stay the same. And honestly, I feel like the biggest reason he jumped was that he's so scared that if he has to do anything else to Takemichi, he couldn't forgive himself, and he already couldn't, so I'd rather kill myself now and just get out before it's too late. It does naturally feel like, based on what they've revealed with the time travel mechanic, most of the cards are probably laid out on the table, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's still other twists and turns about how the past and present kind of link up if there's extra bells and whistles to it. Either way, this is without it one of the more complex systems in place for jumping forward and backwards in time, while not having anything not make sense. I think the stabbing plotline is one of the best indicators of that, or how he was actually placed in front of the train and how he didn't die, and it's just a whole chain of actions have consequences in the past and the present. It's a show that definitely knows its stuff, and I think there's definitely been an increase in time travel type storytelling. I mean, Vivian this season as an example, but it's nice to see different authors do it in vastly different ways, but still following the core fundamentals and rules that have been laid out in time travel storytelling. Powerful episode, well-directed episode, hilarious episode, but goddamn depressing episode all wrapped up into one. Tokyo Revengers is not slowing down, and I'm excited and terrified for more. Let me know your thoughts and feelings, and definitely those series down below. Where do you think is going to go in episode 5 next week? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, show your support, and hit that subscribe button if you're happy new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.